Fortnite has many game mechanics that change throughout the seasons. One is like how llamas work, or how guns shoot with recoil. And one that almost always changes in between seasons is the XP. How much you get, how quickly you can level up, what level you're even aspiring towards to get unlock all the styles. One that's more recently changed is Save the World gives you XP now. And so it's if not the quickest way to level up besides the challenges, which happen weekly, so you won't be able to complete them all quickly. But in Save the World, you can repeat with the 600,000 XP cap, which roughly equates to about 10 levels. And it's, it's a lot of XP when we get down to some of them. And now this video will be explaining what is the best game mode to play to maximize the most amount of XP to time ratio. Now, what is that? Well, how I'm describing it, XP to time ratio is the amount of XP versus the amount of time spent. So if I spend 30 minutes and I get 18,000 XP, that's it's awful. But if I spend 10 minutes and get 50,000, that would be the absolute best. Because we're trying to quickly reach our goal, which is 600,000 a day. So we're going to find out what gives us the most amount of XP quickest. Now, preferably, some of these I'll describe are not fun. Now, but this is just to maximize the amount of XP we're going to get. Now, also, I will be doing essentially all of these solo because, one, you can't to be fair to all of them, because you can't rely on the people that join, because sometimes people don't join your match, and so it's not unfairly weighted if I have a good team in one or bad team in another. Also, let's be honest, not everyone you play with is going to be helpful. To maximize the amount of time that you spend, you want to do it yourself. Then you can then you don't have to wait for them to agree to ready up for you, because you have to everyone has to agree when to start the thing, but almost all the time they're very fickle, and so they won't agree with you. Anyways, and so we'll start with one of my favorite game modes, Fight the Storm. Also, prefaces, this is Save the World, so you have to buy the $20 thing. But also, if you see I'm getting V-Bucks, it's because I'm a founder. Different thing, you can't be a founder anymore, but okay, let's get into the video. So I decided to test the original game mode, at least, or the main game mode, which is Fight the Storm, where the goal is to gather one blue glow and then activate the storm shield, which I found very quickly, and was able to complete it in a very reasonable amount of time of 9 minutes, which is, it varies very slightly though, depending on how long it will take you to find the actual atlas. Now, there's a definite amount of time that it'll take, because that is the timer of the mission, and the mission timer is 8 minutes. So you'll never get under 8 minutes, and you'll never just get 8 minutes, because you have to find it and then put the blue glow in. As for our strategies, I just make a simple pyramid, a flat top pyramid, and put a defender on top of it. And since this area actually is pretty good situation for the storm, I add traps to the surrounding area that push them into the pit of the the Durburger restaurant, which I emptied out because it has a basement, and so the husks can't get out. And then, conveniently enough, the defender also fell in there, and so he was able to just hack and slash all the husks that fall in. They are pushed in, as I should say, by the wall punches, I think they were called. And so I put in a bruiser, which is just the melee. I just put in the melee people mostly because the weapon's durability is the only thing that it costs, not its ammo, which the other guys take, and a gun. So I suggest using a melee attacker, creating a simple pyramid out of any material, reinforced 3 times for extra time, and at that point you can essentially just AFK because the defenders will do it for you. They'll defend it good enough at the lower power levels, so it doesn't matter what power level you do it at, so I'm doing it at 5, and the defenders, they just wipe the floor with all the husks, and you know, you just AFK if you'd like. I personally like to watch it just in case, because I'm a little worried about it, but you know, to each their own. Now the XP for this mission is, well, it ends up being around 30,000, but that changes depending on how much you build and your combat score, which usually is high. So you'll get the extra combat or something badges, but what you want to see is the big amount, which is what we'll be judging it on, which equals up to 26,000, so give or take, and so that's pretty good. Now we'll be checking out the second most, well, basic mission, which is Ride the Lightning, which is Lars' van, which is powered by, again, blue glow, needs to be relifted up into the sky by, you guessed it, no, I kind of give away, blue glow. Yeah, it takes 2 blue glow, which, you know, it can sometimes be a hassle finding 4 blue glow because it's 2-staged mission. With the stages are essentially the exact same. I mean, nothing changes. Maybe where the husks are coming from, but that's not an issue at all if you just build a simple metal frame around the building, which is essentially, you know, spend the time to build around it, find the van. So it's essentially a 2-stage version of Fight the Storm, except for this requires 4 blue glow. Now for your setup, it has to be changed up a good amount. Sorry, Daddy. Now for it has to be changed up a good amount. Now I still think that you should build the 3 layers of protection for it, which are basically upgrading it to its 3rd level. Defenders, of course, 2 melees, and then 1 person who can snipe or has a gun or whatever. Just you need a ranged weapon. And considering you can't actually you can't build on top of the van, because of course that's where the van guy has to rise out of his place right there. So, you know, what are you gonna do? They can't really hurt it, only the flingers, but it's, you know, at the lower power levels you don't have to worry about it at all. And so just build a metal box around it. And you can put a roof on the technology part, because it's 3 tiles you have to defend. Put a door right next to the van so you can put the blue glow in for the different stages. Build metal walls, put defenders near the area. Again, you can just AFK. I like to watch though, you know, have a, you know, as long as it's running right there, I can mess around, farm resources. Why not? So, you know, killing husks is kind of the part of the game. It's, you know. But the first part takes 3 minutes, and I think the second part takes also 3 minutes, or maybe 4. It ends up being around the same time. I think each one took 9 minutes and 30 seconds, so you really don't have to, you know, the timing between those two is the exact same. The only difference is XP, which is what I'm getting to. I mean, besides setting it up, is a little bit more mentally taxing. I mean, not really, it's just building a metal box and then placing defenders. But for resources, I guess, because defender things aren't, I mean, they're pretty easy to build, but I can see why it could be hard for some people. The XP for this one ends up being just, you know, it ends up being slightly more. It's 36,000. Again, the badges change and vary, so you know, you may get like a slight difference, but if the badges are essentially the same, I don't think they're different. But you get 30, you get some XP for stage 1 and 2 completion, and we'll be adding it to our victory XP because that counts as well as a certainty. The next one we're checking out is Destroy the Encampments, which is essentially Destroy the Encampments. It is very literal in its name. All you have to do is walk up to the encampments, which is basically where it's a little building thing, I guess. I actually don't remember what it is. I guess encampment is its own thing. Anyways, so you can walk up to it and then destroy the husks that spawn, and then you keep destroying the husks, and then the encampment blows itself up for some reason. So that's all you have to do. You have to destroy 5 to complete the mission, as making it not a failure. But what I like to do is I like to speed run it, because if we want to maximize our amount of time. Okay, so we're running around each encampment, destroying the first few are very, very easy. But then after we destroy all 5, we have to. There's bonuses, which is destroy the 3 super encampments, which are just they're harder. But at this lower power level, they're pretty easy if you have the right guns for it. So your goal is to just destroy the super encampments, which is pretty easy if you're higher power level and you're playing down. Now, again, that's why I don't suggest playing on a higher power level, because playing by yourself is going to be harder and take more time with no XP gain. Anywho, so as you can see, I completed it. Now the mission ends immediately, which is what you want, because now you maximize your amount of time and XP gained. Now for this one, we get about, including the 5,000 XP, we get 12,000, which is pretty bad. So now we're going on to our next one, which is build the radar grid. Sorry. So this one just requires you to build a bunch of radar towers. Now I suggest you get a lot of mats, because this one is painful. It is just all about building radar grids, which isn't even really fun. I mean, they sometimes get like attacked, but like bears, bobbing boars, and raptors, which just it's not very entertaining at all. And after you complete it, you have to activate the radar grid, and then rinse and repeat 3 more times. It's really great. And so after completing those, which is the mandatory amount to actually complete the mission, I decided to complete the other ones, because hopefully it would end this match quickly. So I completed. There ended up only being 2 more. But then, listen to this.
You've got a little time left. Why not do some resourcing?
I have 10 minutes. More than 10 minutes. That's literally more than half of the mission. That's not a little bit of time. Oh, why'd you even do this? The destroying encampments one didn't take. It didn't do this to me. But why? So I have to spend 10 minutes. You have to spend 10 minutes, or whatever time, just nothing. And I'm including this time too, because this is ridiculous. So it'll take about 20 minutes and like 8 seconds, because the end screen. But I just don't enjoy that. Now that 20 minutes is over, we'll talk about the XP that we get, which this one got me by surprise, and this is how I found out there was a 600 XP cap. Now I also add the results, because they still tell me how much I got. Okay, it says here 000, but it can max level limit reach. But we still would know we would have gotten 28.6 XP, which is 28, which is just what I'm counting it, and then 10,000 XP for platinum. However, I'm not counting that, because that is a non-certainty. Because if you don't complete it, all the grid, then all you have to complete is 3. But that's because I completed all of them, so I'm not counting that one. Now to a technically, I guess, newer addition to Save the World. I mean, it was new like 2 years ago. The Eliminate and Collect mission, which, I mean, it's one of the newest. That's all I can really give it. I mean, it's fine. It's destroy like a large amount of husks to get higher like rating and collect samples. All you really have to do is collect samples and then kill 100 husks to complete the mission. It's really not that hard. I mean, try to kill as many husks as possible to get the XP. bonus from it, but also you gotta like do anomalies and eliminate the certain quests they give you, which seems to always be the pitcher, which is just the one that throws a wrench or ball at you.
Wish I could.
You'd think it'd be a ball, but I think it's just a wrench. Anyway.
Oh yeah, it's gonna hurt.
So that's really all you gotta do. And this one's very simple, so they really shouldn't surprise me if ever. The storm slowly closes in, and you're forced to one area, and then waves spawn around you. But otherwise, collect enemy sample datas, kill husks, maybe complete the optional objectives. But you know, that's it.
It's getting too dangerous. I have to pull you out now.
And so now you get 20,000 XP, which as your reward, which compared to the other ones is not very good. So now to save the survivors, we have to rescue all the survivors in the zone. Now this one is just mostly annoying. The mission is quite repetitive. Most of the time it's just save a survivor who's on a car being attacked by husks, or talk to the survivor, which are my favorite because it's the quickest. See, just easy, just talk to him. But some of them you're on a car, it takes like 45 seconds, which is just doesn't really make sense, because why would it take so long? But when someone's being actively chased by them, it doesn't. So I mean, you know, it kind of shakes it up, but it's really not that entertaining. But you know, I guess the novelty. And then you have Ned. Literally so repetitive that they made an entire quest line one time about it. He's the same things. I was getting worried. I know it's a lot to ask, but I really can't leave without it. Because he wants his med kit, which has something in it, I guess. So we have to go get it. There's this little radius, we go to it, and then we get his med kit. And it's always the same guy, the same med kit. Now the area is different, but it's literally the same thing over and over again. They even made a joke about this, about the Neds, which honestly made the mission a lot better. They joked about it, and so they know that it's repetitive. But I don't, you know, and they're not going to change it, and I don't really think they should because it was funny. But they don't really do the mission. Like I haven't seen that mission in so long. I think maybe it's a part of the Dennis from the Future thing, if I remember correctly, about time. But anywho, it's quite funny. But yeah, you just grab his med kit, you know, talk to him, grab his med kit, and then bring it back to him, talk to him, and then yeah, you get that survivor. In the end, we end up getting around, you know. Also, you can't rescue all the survivors usually, because there's always one that's glitched out or had randomly died and you don't know about. So you can pretty much, you know, you can almost always get 8 though. So I got 44,000, which is because I rescued a lot of survivors and I completed the mission. Which 44 is okay. It's a lot of XP, but compared to how long it took, 20 minutes, it's actually not very good in the long run.